Hello, Khansaa.
Hello, Amin.
How are you?
Very good, and you?
Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for driving all the way to bring me.
It was my pleasure because I do things on the car. I listen to podcasts, listen to music, and I had a really nice conversation with you.
Yeah, it was a great conversation.
Yes, this is the thing with this podcast, Khansaa. It's like sometimes I have like great conversations with lots of people, with usually interesting people. And نقول باللي c'est dommage I can't share this conversation with my friends.
We should have recorded in the car.
Yes. So then often when I bring people to have a podcast with me, we have like a great podcast in the car.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
we have a great post podcast, if you see what I mean. Anyway, Khansaa, can you start by introducing yourself?
Sure.
Introduce yourself the way you want people to know you. Like, you don't really have to say what you studied or what you do or whatever. Just tell me who you want people to know you are.
That's a great question.
And by the way, you can speak any language you want.
معليش ما كاش مشكل. That's a great. أنا شوف كنا نهضر déjà 3 langues in the same sentence, just like how we did right now. So why is that a great question? Because you're sort of like you're letting me be free to introduce myself, and to be very honest with you, that's a question that I really don't like answering because people ask me that a lot, and even when they invite me to like events and stuff, they're like, introduce yourself, write something about yourself. And I'm like, I don't know, like. What am I? I'm a physics student. Especially I feel like all I am is a student who's struggling to study. At the same time, I work for a company where I just organize a couple of events that are sort of style podcasts where we're talking about problems of Algeria. Or solvable problems at least. We're trying to help youth get more into entrepreneurship or get youth that is interested in entrepreneurship to learn more about it and the different topics that are related to it. So it's essentially what I'm doing right now. At the same time, I'm very interested in education. I talk about it all the time. Each chance I get to talk about it, I feel like I have a lot that I can add to that topic. So whenever I have the chance to maybe talk about my opinions, I always take it. That's why like I go to podcasts. I don't talk only about that in podcasts or in events, speeches that I've been invited to. That's what I essentially talked about since I started. I'm a huge science nerd. I'm a very nerdy person. I am extremely passionate about psychology, neuroscience, the behavioral sciences in general, behavioral evolution. What am I as well? And I love public speaking. I love talking. So
can you tell me about what do you mean by you're a nerd?
I'm a nerd.
How do you see nerds? What is a nerd?
That's so the thing is that I know that it's not like I don't want anyone to stereotype what a nerd is and what is not, because I don't look like a nerd because let's just like for example take the American definition of what a nerd is.
Excuse me, except your shirt.
Yeah.
Your shirt
I just liked it. I don't know the band though.
Okay.
Yeah, see? So, I was saying, according to the American definition of what a nerd is someone who just like wears glasses and is like in books all the time and doesn't have good social interactions with people. I feel like I work a lot on my social interactions with people. I am also very confident when talking in front of like huge crowds. So I'm not like the very like definition of an American nerd. But for example, the other day when I was sitting with my friends for my birthday and we were playing, we were trying to find a game. I was like, how about we play, let's say, cool science facts game. And everyone was like, shut up, no, you're not going to do that. So I'm that sort of a nerd, you know. I would say I'm a nerd because life fascinates me, nature fascinates me, physics does, and it's all I want to talk about.
Really, this is what, to me, a definition of a nerd is. It doesn't really necessarily have anything to do with American culture,
where
the word originated from. But like, to me, a nerd is someone who sees something that happens every day, and lots of people take for granted, but he doesn't take that for granted.
Exactly.
And he's like, wait, what is that happening? Why is the sky blue?
Exactly.
I want to know. Like, it shouldn't be blue.
That's a great
black.
question.
Yeah. So this is one aspect. Like, Newton saw the behavior of things that fall.
Yeah.
And he decided, okay, why are we taking this for granted exactly?
Exactly.
Why aren't we trying to understand this?
The other day I was ماما قالت لي نشري الحوايج, so خرجت البالكون هكذا خزت. Then I saw like 2 stars that were really bright. I looked up and I was like, what is that? What is happening?
Yeah.
So I went in and I was asking, I went to Instagram and I went also on Google. I asked a couple of people, like, what is happening? Is there something specific today? So, and it's a skill that, it's definitely something that I acquired over the years, to look at something and be analytical about it. And you just don't, go through life not thinking about what's happening around you.
We're not necessarily. By the way, did you find out what those 2 stars are?
Yes, I think it was Saturn. I think Saturn was closer. So yeah, they looked like they were
Probably
normal
Saturn
stars.
And Jupiter.
Yes, it was around like maybe like 5 months ago, maybe not even.
I have a nice story like that. I was talking on the phone with my cousin at night. I was looking at the stars while doing that, and I saw like a star that was moving. But at the same time, it wasn't like blinking. It wasn't flashing. So usually airplanes flash or blink.
Yeah.
So it was moving. It was like just like a star but moving. So I used an app on my iPhone, which is called StarTalk, and it turns out it's like a space debris. It's
space debris.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a piece of used rocket.
Okay.
Yes, made by German people.
Okay.
And used by the Soviets in 1969.
Oh my God.
Which is called Abraxas.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I felt when I knew this information that what I was seeing, this is it.
Yeah. From 1969.
1969. I remember the information.
Yeah.
Because I'm so fascinated that we are just using our phones. We can know something that's so far away.
Exactly.
That we wouldn't have otherwise been able to know. So
and like I feel like a lot of people, but like I would say the majority of people like just outside. شوفوا حاجة كيما هادي يقولوا هيك وش دخلني أنا يا صاروخ راح يترمى.
They just say whatever. They don't even ask the question.
Yeah, and that's very sad.
Yeah, and eventually when they have no choice at some point, that's where UFO stories comes from.
Yeah.
Like a lot of UFO sightings are just Jupiter. See what I mean? Like they just see a super, super bright star and they're not used to see it because they're not used to take that. So it's aliens, and at the same time, when you are talking about nerd culture or this way of seeing things, when we are fascinated by the things that are the most taken for granted, I think we aren't really necessarily encouraged by our society, by our families, by our teachers to be like that. Like for example, there's this idiom in Algerian which is متحوش تفهم. Like you're a really good person who can متحوش تفهم. See what I mean? Like a lot of people even told me ما تسقسيش بزاف. Like
me too. Don't ask too much questions. ما تدخلش في الغيبيات. Don't say things like that. And it's very unfortunate because it doesn't come from a religious perspective. It comes from a traditional perspective because, well, Allah wants you to use your brain. He gives you a brain for a reason. So it has to be shattered with religion. You have to use a religion to be like, no, it doesn't really work like that. Yeah. So when it comes to just like to make it clear that we're talking about the Algerian tradition, Algerian mentality, that we understood religion the wrong way. So we're using it the wrong way. And I feel like so many Algerians, and I hopefully بدأت تطرح شوية هاد المنطاليتي تاع noir et blanc. It's plain. It's either white or black. They take whatever situation it is. They think everything is, and I don't think it's only in Algeria, but people are not taking different perspectives into consideration. Everything is just like so plain. I'm gonna give you an example because I know I'm making myself unclear. Say the personality of a person, like the good or bad of a person. Let's say someone hit someone, or someone ran away and left someone behind him. كي تخزر فيها قدام الفقه be like okay that's not good, that person did not do a good thing. But then you have to take so many different things into consideration, what this person went through when they were younger, what's the reason that they run away, and even if they didn't have a good reason, like they were just afraid or they didn't like the person, what made them get to that point.
Maybe they were oppressed.
Maybe they were oppressed.
Relationship of the home, etc.
Exactly. So we have to, I really think this is super, super important, and that we all have to learn how to do it. We have to learn how to think very critically and from so many different perspectives. I think that thing might change society drastically.
I think what we really need, what Algerians need to have that, is travel more and have more foreign people
experiences.
In our country. Because we usually always, every day we meet just all the Algerians like us. And we don't see people who have different points of views or different views on different things. And even when they do, we don't really allow them to express that.
I have a friend of mine who went to Bali, I think.
Where is Bali?
Somewhere in Asia. They have like a lot of temples. And he went to Indonesia in general. He went like to so many different places, and you know they some of them are Hindu, I assume.
Others are maybe Buddhist,
Buddhist as well. They're these sort of religions that are not very famous in Algeria, to say the least. سيد كان داير ستوري دخلت to this amazing temple, beautiful temple. And I'm fascinated by like Indian culture, and I'm fascinated by these religions. So he went in and he was making an Instagram story, and then he went like قالوا لي ما تفيلميش هنايا بصح راني نفيلم لكم شوفوا الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام.
So that's something to actually
be very mad at. That's something to talk about and be very mad at. Look, I mentioned that because you said, Billy, we need to travel more, to have more foreigners in Algeria. I totally agree. It's going to affect a lot of people, but there will be a portion of people that's not going to affect.
Of course.
السيد راح دخل to like this amazing temple, and he did not respect when they told him, do not film.
To be quite honest with you, I went with a friend of mine who's a girl. I was in Annaba, and we went into it's not Kanisa, it's not the church, it's like a big church.
It's not a church, it's a big church.
It's en tout cas اسمها Saint Augustin, جاي فوق جبل بزاف شابة etc. دخلنا داخل, and the setting was really nice for her to be photographed by me. But the priest asked us not to take any photos. We actually hid from him and took lots of photos anyway, and the photos were amazing. Listen, that was a bit disrespectful, honestly.
It is disrespectful. And I'm very serious about this. Like, I respect all religions, and I strive to have people learn that they have to respect all religions. I also feel that it's unfair to tell someone to not film something so beautiful. It will help other people learn about it, so that's really good. So I'm against them saying no.
That's the point of the beauty of the temple.
That
exactly. People,
exactly. You have to learn. Like, and I wouldn't have had as big of a problem with the guy if he hadn't said الحمد لله أنا نعمة الإسلام شوفوا مساكن وقع. I mean, you know, even whatever you believe in, it's okay. بصح why would you say something like that? على وش دخلك فيهم؟ قولها لعمرك، قولها في قلبك. Don't, because it's disrespectful to these people.
When you say الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام, it's like you're putting yourself above these people. Is that what you're saying?
And that's what it's not what your religion wants you to do.
When you say I respect all religions, I think that's quite a dangerous statement. Because there are some crazy religions out there. So
I mean,
for example, there are religions that actually tell people to commit suicide.
What religion is that? Like, Jainism.
Have you heard of a place called California?
I heard of a place called California.
Of the 60s. So there were like so-called religions made by so-called prophets, and eventually they would kill themselves. I don't remember the names of the religions. They were derived from Christianity. I don't really remember the names
Yeah.
of the prophet and
Yeah.
the incidents, etc. There has been similar cases in Australia, etc. And not just it's not just California or Australia. This happens all over the world. There are so many religions. There are, I think, as many religions as there are languages in the world. So like thousands, and many of them
Religions, there are like 13 major ones.
Major ones.
Yeah,
There
those
small,
are the ones that I'm
but
talking
there are small
about.
religions. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I honestly haven't ever heard about things like
so
that.
maybe you respect all the religions that you have heard of.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely. Now, when I talk about, I'm gonna give you an example. For example, Jainism. Have you heard about
What is it?
Jainism? Jainism is a religion that's mostly based in India. Gandhi was a Jain. These people are so peaceful to the point where they don't want to eat. So they're cruel to them to kill animals in order to eat, and obviously, consequently, they will die because of that.
So consequently, they are cruel to themselves.
Yeah.
So I would like to talk about our education system.
Sure.
So you've had some experiences. Can you tell me about? Let's start with experiences. Okay. So maybe paint a picture of the state of our education system.
Yeah.
Like how it is, or how it has been 20 years ago till now, at least. So tell me some of the stories that you have had in school. Some of the stories that shouldn't have happened.
Sure. Want me to repeat the stories we talked about in the car?
I could start with this story.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was in a class first year of high school. There were like two students who were obviously not there to study. So what did the teacher tell them? He told them that my mission right now is to kick you out of the school. Like this is what I'm gonna spend most of my efforts on.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is like the first week. And yes, of course, he was an influential teacher, and he got them out.
Kicked them out.
Kicked them out of the school. And at that time, I found it completely normal because this is the teacher, right? And you kind of trust the teacher like you trust your doctor, right? But I have been a teacher later, and I've had some problematic teenage students, but I never thought of kicking them out. Like not even from the classroom.
Can you tell me about some of the things that these two students used to do? I just want to understand the gravity of the situation.
They were having their table aside on the back and talking to each other and not really looking at the teacher.
That's it?
They weren't having drugs in the classroom. They weren't like harassing anyone. Like not yet.
Not yet.
I suppose maybe they would be bullying some people later, but it's not what was happening when the teacher decided to kick them out. So I don't see why a teacher who is paid to educate and he's paid to teach, he actually like kicks out his own clients. Like I really don't understand, because when you look at it, when
he doesn't really see them. He doesn't see them as clients.
But they are his clients because the government's money is our money. It's the people's money, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we say this is a government, but it's actually the people's money. Yes, it's the Algerian people's money.
That's a big problem.
Yes, and so these people are actually paying from their own money the salary of this teacher. See what I mean? Indirectly, true, but they are paying this teacher, right? So how can he like fire these people without having his salary like cut down or something like that? Because if this was like a private school, he would earn less money. See what I mean? If this was like a normal business, I don't think the teacher would have been able to kick out clients.
Yeah. If it was a private school.
Yeah. So this is one story. I've had other stories of like teachers like waiting for the opportunity to be violent with the students, and calling that like this is part of the education. You have to hit them. So whenever the student decide to talk too much,
أنا نربيه فيك. يقولوا لهم أنا نربيه فيكم.
أنا نربيه فيكم والفلقة ضرب تاع اليدين etc etc. I used to have this problem at school in my primary school. So I was a bit of a clumsy student in a way that كتيبتي ماشي شابة وما ننظمش بزاف.
But I hate when people my younger brother actually الكتيبة ديالو ماشي مليحة and everyone keeps focusing on that. Yeah. And I feel like he's a genius when it comes to like computer stuff. Yes. But يضلوا يعيطوا عليه. يضلوا يقولوا له ما أنت لازم تكتب وماكش تعرف تدير وجه الكتيبة ديالك. You're making the kid feel small. I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah, you're right. So الشيخ تاعنا كان عنده عفسة مرة في السمانة. He would actually verify the notebooks of the students. And كي يشوفهم باللي ماشي مرتبين مليح 20 واقيلا ضربة بلا.
Oh my god, I have a similar story to this that I have to tell. I was actually thinking about it the other day. كنت حندير half story ديالي and then I was like, no, it's going to be a lot of talk, a lot of chit chat.
This is what podcasts are for.
Yeah. I really dislike talking on Instagram because I feel like I have a lot to say and then you know stories on Instagram يقول بعدك يقولوا نقاطع هكذا صغار.
Then you started like a IGTV adventure. I saw a video.
Yeah, it was really old. I don't know. I was just experimenting. I guess I wanted to make more videos.
It was really a nice one.
Thank you.
I really liked it.
Thank you. It was just a very quick thing that we did. So yeah, what I was gonna talk about هذا العام ديالي الأخر تاع الليسي, and we had a really good biology teacher. She was amazing. She explained things very well. I had some problems with her when I was trying to understand things later on, but overall I would give her an 8 on 10 as a biology teacher. And I was a good student my final year, so I'm حكمة plus. Yeah, it was good. I had a friend اللي كانت تحب تكتب في الهامش. So عندنا كانوا هذا كلاسور وين تشري هكذا دي في وتحطهم لداخل الكلاسور هذا, وكانت تبدا تكتب من الهامش مقبل هذاك الخط الأحمر وتكتب. جست لعندها خطرة شفت لها قالت لها وشنو هذا العام الأخر تاع الليسي.
So this is like your good teacher.
This is my good teacher.
Yes.
قالت لها وشنو هدايا. قالت لها مدام أنا نحب نكتب هكذا. وطفلتك عاقلة مسكينة ما دارت لها والو. She was like this is what I enjoy like هكذا باش نقدر نفهم خير. and I enjoy it being written like that. قالت لها لا تعوديه. Could you imagine كنا وقت 2 trimesters in. قالت لها عوديه.
تعود كامل كاي.
قالت لها تعودي تكتبي. قالت لها تعودي تكتبي. أنا في تمك شغل I didn't pay. I was like إيه من هي ليش تكتب في الهامش.
How old was your friend?
Well, I think she was 18.
So yeah, she's an adult.
She's an adult.
قالوا لها عودي كتبي كاي
for no reason other than باسكو البروف ما عجبهاش. يا بروف يا teacher. You're not the one studying with الكاي هذاك. You're not the one studying with it. وعلاش رانا نقلقوا في لي زيتوديون عندنا هاد واحد this is the second biggest problem. هاد ليماج تاع how things should go according to the older generation. كيفاش يشوفونا لازم نديرو, كيفاش نلبسو, كيفاش نبانو, كيفاش نكتبو, how everything has to be organized.
We are often told وكان يشوفك باباك لابس هاد اللبسة شغل he decides بلي انت ماشي وليدو ولا ما لاباش وش. And really it's not about it.
It's not the case at all. It's just شوف هما أنا in my opinion according to my own very humble analysis كي كانوا صغار they had a certain image of how things should go. ها كيفاش student لازم يبانهم, كيفاش هم يزيروا فينا to be. والوقت تبدل. تما هما for them الكاي ديالك لازم يكون نقي مغلف مخدوم بيان قدام مكتوب باسكو كان عندهم غير الكاي هذاك الوقت تتفاصل. ولازم تبان طالب ولازم شعرك يكون مقطع كيما هكذا باسكو الإديوكيشن سيستم تاع هذاك الوقت كان بدل على الإديوكيشن سيستم ديالنا. وهما باسكو they're an old generation they cannot relate to الوقت to our time. They cannot relate to entrepreneurship, to the open market, to the internet, to the social media.
Already, millennials are unable to relate to people who were born after 2004, 2005, etc.
I mean, there's still a bunch of kids. Yeah. And I relate to them. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, I don't relate when it comes to Discord and and Minecraft. Parce que I understand them باسكو I can do a really good analysis باسكو أنني نخدم وراني نقرأ and I'm working for a future. I want to make a good future for myself, so I have goals. I'm not gonna have time باش نروح نلعب دي جو ونحضر مع أصحابي في Discord. Whom they do because they're young.
Of course.
So I'm not gonna. I relate to
but
them.
there are aspects of their culture that we really.
Like what?
Let me think. Like for example, this Nufel, my younger brother, listened to a Guns N' Roses song. You know Guns N' Roses? Okay, so they're a hard rock band.
Yeah,
So he listened to the song, and he was completely like shocked by the lyrics.
Yeah, كانوا the most racist things he said.
Yeah. So those are really racist.
They're a very
lyrics.
offended generation.
Yes. Yeah. And personally, I know. Yeah. I know it's wrong.
Yeah.
I know it's wrong.
Yeah.
So although I know it's wrong, but I'm not gonna stop listening to that song because of it. But Nufel was like, okay, cancelled.
Cancel.
He was joking, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But he used this word cancelled, like, why would you do that? I don't know. To me,
maybe I don't know. I really don't know about that.
There are some aspects of their culture that we don't really relate to.
They get very offended very easily.
Quickly. Yeah. You should see my cousins.
احنا جوزنا بزاف مصيبات في حياتنا. شغل حقرونا بزاف وما متحقروش كيما حنايا. C'est pour ça we accept a little bit more. هكذا.
Yeah. That's totally true.
Not really. صح معليش نهضر عليها later. So بصح يعني for the most part the thing is that I never blame the children, especially teenagers children. I never blame them.
They're not to blame. Yeah,
they are not to blame.
Yes.
They're kids
in the education system,
especially in the education system.
It's like blaming the client for your product.
No, it's not. It's like blaming a toddler for not knowing how to open a bottle of water.
That's it too.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't think the problem is in. I don't think the students shouldn't be blamed because they don't know. Okay, so let me tell you this story. I did a class, like an engineering class for young people, right? So I would tell them how engineering works, and the thing that we did was like design and built a boat, right? So what I realized is that younger people or younger students were much more interested, and they were much more involved, and they were way better at problem solving than than teenagers who were older. So 16-year-old people, they were like, okay, we don't care. I don't wanna this isn't like real life thing. Although this could be their career.
Can you define old?
So the younger people were like less than 12, and the people who were less interested were like more than 14. So 14, 15, 16. Right. So and I think this shows how the older we get, the less curious we get.
Of course.
If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think our curiosity is like stripped from us as we grow up.
Our attention gets shifted to other things.
Yeah.
One of them is sexuality.
Yes, hormones.
Yeah. So the meaning of life starts to change a little bit, especially now with teenagers that are very difficult years. كي تكون صغير, you're more into wow, life, and then you're like wow, relationships, and then you're like wow, how can I
money.
Yeah. Voilà. How can I sustain myself? Because you develop a prefrontal cortex that is responsible for it's developed around 23, 24, 25 fully. So the prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain that is responsible for logical decision making, logical thinking, analysis, everything related to that. So around more teenagers تبدأ تخمم more logically. But
then again, I've had like friends who were over 25 years old, and when I talk to them about science or engineering or about how the universe works, they still don't care.
Yeah, but no, and what I meant by logical decision making is not necessarily knowing enough about science. It's knowing enough about your surrounding to understand what you want to do with your life. Even if it's the most basic thing, like working any simple job to get شوية دراهم باش تزوج بيهم ولا دير whatever it is. That's the basic look to society that you need to have, because like تكبر, you need to understand where you fit. Yes. In one way or another.
If you're a man, you need to be a husband. If you're
a woman, you need to be a wife,
etc.
Not to be like women cannot work. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk. I really want to go back to the point that we were making about our education system. When we were talking about طفلة هذيك اللي كانت تكتب في الهامش. And about this teacher هذا. I wanna put on the table a very important aspect, that is data collection and research about the problems before trying to solve anything. And most of the time when I talk about our problems, it's my own analysis. It's in my own points of views, because you just cannot talk in any other way, because you don't have any information about the reality of the problems. I'm going to give you an example that I give literally to everyone. هذاك النهار كنت نشوف interview مع نوريا بن غبريط وسقساوها على الغش, and it literally got stuck in my head. ما حبش تخرج من راسي هذيك الانترفيو. قالوا كانوا يهضروا على الباك والجورناليست هذاك قاعد يسقسي فيها هو كيفاش نديروا على جال باش نحاربوا الغش في الباك هذا العام. اسكو كاين اجهزه التشويش, اسكو كدا, اسكو البوليس واللي شوندارم وما على باليش هنايا والورق وش با بيك خلوطه when it comes to الباك الغش بالعوام ما دعوتش تتجوز. It's insane when you really think about it. And it's very sad that this journalist doesn't even think that he should ask her about why do we have the problem of cheating in the first place. What are the things that we're doing wrong that this student wants to cheat instead of work? And it has cheating has a lot of different aspects into it. هنايا تاني باش ما نخموش mentalité تاع noir et blanc. When we're talking about a problem from a scientific perspective, from a social perspective تاني, it has a lot of different angles. And I'm gonna give some
of the perspective.
Yes. So الغش, first of all, is caused by the lack of confidence of the student. That's one. Secondly, the lack of understanding of plagiarism, for example. I feel like plagiarism في الجزائر ولا انك كي تكتب غش يقولك دير بحث ولا تروح الانترنت تخرجوا ديروا, and it's okay. And that's في les États-Unis par exemple. If you do something like that and you're a scientist, if you're a student, تتحاوز. It's a huge thing. ما تسرقش because it's سرقة. It's سرقة. Yes. So احنا ما عندناش هذيك la culture تاع it's very important to have your own work. We don't even know about the concept of plagiarism. That's two. Third, everything revolves around good grades. That's the biggest that's one of the biggest aspects
from the family
to the education system. And the education
even
system
you're gonna date in high school.
Really? I don't remember that. Yeah. So the education system has to combat the fact that your society is making everything about the grades. And how we can do that is a bunch of different things that we can talk about later on if you want to. So we have to change هذيك الإيمج تاع أناني نقرأ بس لازم ندي 10 بس ولا باش نديها 17 باش ندخل هذيك الآفاق. No, it has to be because I want to learn, and it has to be through active learning. It cannot be through lecturing.
Active learning, which virtually doesn't exist in our classes.
Not even a little bit. It's all about lecturing. It's all about قعد وفهم. You were saying in the car, how can something so fascinating like the Second World War become so boring in a classroom?
And they would talk to us about like some really, really interesting personalities. Like they talk to us about Newton. And that's it. We just know the name.
Like,
that's
do
all
you
we need to. Like I could give like 5 hours lectures about Newton.
I can. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, no problem.
Like, and Hinaya, just because you mentioned Newton, I wanna talk about how important it is to show the different aspects of Newton at the same time. Yes, he's a scientist. And he did a lot of good things. He's the god of classical mechanics.
He's one of the most intelligent people we have ever
that have been in history. Yeah, definitely. هو Da Vinci Vinci, people think he's just a painter, but we don't learn that he was a genius in mathematics and biology and everything. He was a scientist. Anyway, so about Newton. Newton was a very introverted person. He died a virgin. He wouldn't get married. He was very he didn't talk to anyone. And he had a lot of problems also at the same time. And I feel like because we have the problem of glorifying people in our society, like for example Einstein, he was very racist towards Chinese people. Yes, okay, he was a genius, and a lot of his predictions are becoming more and more truth.
He changed the way we think
about physics,
about the universe,
about
time, and about space.
Quantum mechanics. I want us to show these people as people, because we need to understand in our society that even if you're a really good person, even if you did amazing things, and even if you're smart and do whatever it is that you do, understand that a human stays a human. Your teacher is a human. حنايا ندخلوا كي نخرجوا برا ونشوفوا تيتشر ديالنا راح يشري شكارها سميت
مش لابس طبليه.
So كاين هذه ماشي غير كاينه ثاني in politics and everything else in business to the west, to anything, literally anything. I think غير Elon Musk he's perfect. Just kidding.
I don't agree with that.
Why?
You have to.
وش خصو Elon Musk? I think he's perfect.
Let me think about it.
Really?
Okay, so first of all, وعلاش I think I say Elon Musk وش خصو, because he literally achieved a lot of the things that I wish I had achieved.
Of course.
So I'm like really envious of his career. So this is one thing. Another, why I don't think, I think he's just way too glorified. I don't think what he achieved, he did it alone. He wasn't like Tony Stark. A lot of people call
Tony Stark.
You know who Tony Stark is?
Are you talking about هذوك اللي يطيروا في السماء وكاع?
Wait, Tony Stark in the movies, in the superhero movie, يقولي واحد باللي he single-handedly discovered a new element. And
do you know that I think I heard باللي Tony Stark was based on Elon Musk. Who Tony Stark went to talk about with Elon Musk to be able to act well.
I think that's marketing. I really think that's marketing. Let me explain to you why. So, Elon Musk or Tony Stark actually made something that's completely revolutionary, which is his suit and alone. However, Elon Musk didn't do, I don't know, whatever he did with Tesla, the groundbreaking revolutions he did with the rocket that comes back to Earth, etc. And so he did it with the help of lots and lots of really, really clever people.
Of course.
People who are way cleverer than he is.
Of course.
Yes. So this is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, true, he managed. True, he put his money where it matters.
Without managing, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing in the world.
True.
If we always need, and actually, I have.
And still, he's not the only one managing.
Of course, you cannot do all of that without your engineers.
Lots of people.
But I'm pretty sure that he was managing the people who were managing. Yeah. He started the whole thing, so it's essentially it's his management.
Yeah.
But I've heard him multiple times saying that he doesn't do business things. He mostly does engineering things. So he spends his time in engineering because that's what he's passionate about. I feel like I like him for the same reason you dislike him.
Just because you're a woman and you don't have the same testosterone that I do.
Okay.
I'm really jealous of him, actually.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
Maybe I don't really like him because of his lack of charisma. Like, don't tell me otherwise. He's one of the least charismatic people that are cherished by a lot of people.
I don't know. I feel he's pretty charismatic. Not too charismatic, I guess. I feel like Steve Jobs was charismatic to the point. I feel like Steve Jobs was a little bit overrated. He wasn't in public speaking. So in what he does, he was pretty good. This is where we
don't agree. So Steve Jobs in public speaking, he would do some things that I had never seen any other public speaker do.
Like what?
Like wear normal clothes and then retract his shirt sleeves.
That's not really impressive.
Like he talks to people like he's talking to his friend.
I've seen a lot of people who do that.
Yeah, maybe, but because I don't really see lots of public speakings. But to me, like Steve Jobs doesn't fake anything on stage. But then again,
that's really good.
Yeah, I don't really admire him for his public speaking. I admire him for the decisions he made.
Yeah. But he wasn't a very good person, you know that.
I don't care.
Yeah, okay.
He'd
care. Probably do the same to people.
But then again, I think he cared a lot about the education system in his country. Yes, and he proposed a lot of ways to make this education system better. And he gave lots of money, lots of free computers to school, etc., especially to pupils who were in need. So I think he cared about the world, and that's ultimately
Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Okay, what I read, I don't think so, but okay.
I really do.
خلينا نقول Elon Musk very quickly. I said that I like him for the same reason that you dislike him. I'm going to give you an example with the flying cars. You know how humanity has had this image of the future having to have flying cars because of the marketing that used to be done. So who was that? He discovered that idea was practically impossible because it generates a lot of noise. So what are we going to do next? Let's do the next best thing, and we're going to go under the ground. So it's going to be much easier that way. So I feel like he's very pragmatic. He's like, if we can't do this...
With the Hyperloop. Under the ground with the Hyperloop, right?
Yes, I guess so. So so أنا ما حش نتبع this fan fiction تاع ما بالي شواش. I mean, I'm gonna try to do it because it's really cool, بصح because it's not possible. I'm gonna go to the next best thing, and it's equally. I mean, it's good. So he doesn't. What did you say that made me come to this point?
I said that he didn't achieve all of this alone.
Yes.
And that there are a lot of people who are more intelligent than he is.
بصح شوف هنايا even that it's intelligence that made him shift to that. Does that make sense? Like it's intelligence that made him shift to the fact that you had like a picture of flying cars to go to the ground. Yeah. I feel like he's a really cool person.
I don't really dislike the person.
He's very bossy, he said. See, everyone has like different personalities.
All of the very, very successful entrepreneur people, they're really bossy, and
you can't really be a good successful entrepreneur if
bossy.
People don't say you're bossy.
Yeah. There was something about science that Elon Musk said was possible, but it actually wasn't possible. So
people are human.
What I was gonna say is, as an engineer myself, like I would work for Elon Musk for free. I wouldn't care. Just put me in Tesla or in SpaceX, preferably SpaceX, although I like cars, and let me work there for free, just for the hell of it, just for the experience.
I heard Gary Vee saying that if you want to go somewhere, work for free for the people that you think are there.
Absolutely.
Anyway, now we're talking about الغش in our schools.
I just want to say one thing, ElKhansaa, about الغش. So while I was a student. While I was a pupil and then a student, so it's been 40 minutes.
How much time do you want to take?
I don't know.
By the way, like we can record the different things and then you cut them and put them. I have no problem.
We have problems with batteries.
I heard. I heard.
I think we're going to do a bit more over an hour, and then whenever this stops. Okay, you're comfortable with that?
Sure.
Great. So about الغش, كنت شغل في السيوم كنت نغشيت because everybody was doing it. Our teacher wasn't teaching us anything, so in order to have good marks we had to نغش. And then at some point I realized
see how the marks are what matters.
And then at some point I realized بلي even لو كان زعما ما نغش ممكن نعطي له ورقة بخاسك بيضة وفيها like gibberish مكتوب فيها, I would still get a good mark because the teacher wasn't even doing his work. وما يحبش الناس يشوفوا. I had teachers like that.
Okay.
You're looking at me like shocked.
I am.
Yes. Anyway, so I stopped cheating there. Like I decided that it wasn't even worth it. But then I finished studies and I finished university where I didn't cheat at all, etc. Although that was the trend. Then I realized that cheating is actually problem solving, isn't it? Like if you're an engineer and you have a product to make, and then you cheated in order to make that product, and the product was successful, you would be praised. See what I mean? Whoever is investing money into your product, doesn't really care كيفاش باش لحقت لهذيك الانفورماسيون اسكو وحدك اسكو قريتها في كتاب اسكو جبتها من جوجل اسكو سي ولا مين اذا شغل تحق دير حاجه سوليد وجبت هذوك لي زيكواسيون من جوجل he really doesn't care l'important c'est le résultat tu vois and شغل ما كاينش كيفاه تلحق لو ريزولتا هذاك بلا ما تحوس بلا ما تكون
تعرف كيفاش تحوس. Yeah, but you have to cite the work that you did.
Yeah, of course. دوكا هذيك في cheating. دوكا زعما يقول لنا باللي cheat all you want à condition you cite from where you brought this information. Right. I think everybody would be doing that. Okay? So,
exactly.
دوكا le problème qui s'est posé مع هاد les étudiants كيما قلنا باللي the problem isn't cheating itself, it's the way they were taught. يقرأ un module ولا يقرأ مادة وما يفهم فيها والو. ويجوز شهور هو دائما يروح وما يفهم فيها والو. He spends hours in the classroom وما يفهم منها والو. That's a problem. And then how does he solve this problem? He tries to revise at home. He sees that that's way too much work. Is it even worth it? And then يسيب اللي ما عندوش بزاف وقت. alors واش يدير؟ يوجد كوبياج. And كوبياج كما قلت لك in the real world outside of the school system. As long as you mention from where you brought that information or whatever, ما تسرقهاش. Nobody cares from where you found the solution. Okay? So let's suppose you're sick. ومن بعد le docteur تاعك il a copié l'information que هذا الدواء هو اللي يداويك وكي تشربيه تداوي ولا تبراي. Are you like non ما نشربش الدواء باسكو جابوه من طريقه سيتي با من مخو اللي صابو tu vois واش حابين نقول.
But don't you think that way can have a lot of flaws in it? Like هذا الفارماسيان يرفد هذا الاخر باللي هذا الدواء صح يداويك هي in reality he forgot a chapter باللي لو كان تاي عندك هذا الالرجي you're gonna
absolutely that's true. كاين كيفاش يديك شغل الدواء هذاك قراب اللي يداويك بصح any good doctor يفيق باللي فيه عفسه ولا عندك une allergie par exemple.
So when we're taking this to a larger scale it's not going to work because ما تقدرش تتبع each thing. So everyone has to know about the information تاع الخدمه ديالهم.
But then again imagine تحقي les équations تاع اينشتاين باش تحسبي
physics is something else definitely. Yeah.
Is it something else? Because everything is based on physics.
No, I feel medicine. Yeah, definitely. I mean, not everything is based on physics. Physics is the study of everything. But when it comes to theoretical studies, if you get either تكتب a paper and you're like, I got this from here, and then I got to here. This is just a paper. It's not affecting your life. But when it's medicine. If you're getting something from someone and then you just got that information, then it depends on the context. I told you, كي تبدأ تكبرها in the scale, it creates a lot of problems.
I still think that any misinformation about anything could lead to actual death. So, for example, people of Chernobyl, I always bring up this example because it's an easy one and it's an extreme one. But people of Chernobyl, when they heard that explosion in the nuclear power plant وشافوا شغل des couleurs bizarres باينين هكا في الهواء around it. They didn't flee, they didn't do anything. They thought it was
nothing would have happened to them. I mean they were, even if they fled خلاص radiation حقت لهم, they're gonna get cancer now and then. But yes, ما دا عندك هادوك الفاير فايترز هادوك دابوا then.
Yes, وكان جاو قراو مليح وكان they knew a bit of physics, you can deja they wouldn't answer the call maybe.
I mean, come on, but I mean they don't even know that there were a nuclear blow up inside. Maybe it was just a fire in one of the buildings. So تروح تما تخدم خدمة ديالك. And if they were all physicists ومن بعد شكون حيطفي لك هذيك النار, شكون حيخرج الناس. I mean it is a tragedy, but tragedies are a part of being human, unfortunately.
Yeah, and about the theory تاع copyage is actually a good skill, which I'm talking about قبيلات. قلت لي باللي it has a lot of flaws.
No, I said it has a lot of flaws when you're trying to apply it to the real world.
Yeah, because وكان زعما تشوفي لو كان زعما تكوبي une information غلطة ما تجيبش une bonne note. دونك وكان زعما تكوبيي مليح وتجيب une bonne information you realize باللي شغل إذا الانفورماسيون صحيحة في الورقة صحيحة in the real world supposedly. Sorry Khansaa, problem with the cameras. Okay?
No problem.
Yeah, so I was saying if you have a problem and you actually you are able to solve it ويعطوك نقطة شابة because you solved it although you cheated in real life supposedly
it's a skill in one way or another.
It's more I think it's this is what we should be taught in our classes, like instead of احفظ l'information هذيك وشفع عليها حتى l'examen plutôt like try to find the information.
أنا جاياتك once so كما قلت وش قلت the first thing is that well, when I was talking about the different perspectives تاع الكوبياج learning is underrated. ماشي underrated. Learning is not as important as is more important than what they're trying to make it look like. Justement, because يقراو the wrong way, that they're cheating. And even if you're saying that cheating is a skill and it might be helpful, I feel like that's not the best example that we should be giving to students. There are so many different ways that we can show them that you can acquire skills in different ways, because كما قلت لكم the cheating when you go to like a larger scale it's just not gonna work as much. فهمتني؟ I mean anything that you learn how to do is a skill. When you learn how to تسرق it's gonna be a skill.
Of course,
you know, but is that a good skill? It's not
is that
a good
ethical
skill.
and is that sustainable in society?
Is it gonna help you? Is it gonna help you? Are you gonna be a good person? Are you gonna be an active citizen in your society and help Algeria? So yeah, I would say no to that. But how can we shift the focus from the need of having the skill of cheating to actually learning the right information is throughout active learning. You have to learn the right way. You have to learn through learning? You have to learn well essentially learning through doing. So making presentations about a project. And I think the way we do exams is wrong. And I think the book should not exist in the way it exists now. I think the idea of تقرأ 13 مش 13 سنة في حياتك شحال 4 8 9 yeah 13 سنة باش تجوز one exam of 1 week that's going to decide what you're going to do for the rest of your life when you're 18 years old is an insanely absurd idea.
Yes, I agree.
It's insane.
I agree.
There has to be multiple exams. That your evaluation من school لازم تتبعك. بصح then to have the evaluation with grades تاعك from high school يتبعوك لافاك, we have to make sure بلي هذيك evaluation is correct. That these teachers are good enough to give good evaluations. That ما كانوا حتى واحد اللي راهو ينفخ في لي نوت. وهذا هو البروبليم اللي راه عندنا دوكاتيك. It needs like major study. We're gonna go maybe كش نهضر عليها ولا can explain it very easily. Also we need psychologists in school باش يتبعوا تالي and give good evaluation لهاد الستودنتس باش كي تطلع لافاك you get a good orientation. بصح the orientation problem is the number one problem that we have in our education system and it needs a podcast of its own.
Why is it okay quickly? Why is it a problem?
Because if you put people in the wrong place, you have a society that's crashing down.
I've had so many. I did engineering. I've had so many classmates or whatever colleagues. اللي جابوا زوج في المات وراحوا يديروا سيونس تكنيك.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. Yeah. أنا like there has been so many studies, statistical studies on small scales اللي نتايا لما تشوف باللي كلاسة فيها 80% نساء بيولوجي باي اكزامبل بعد تروح the workforce تلقى بلا ماجوريتي منهم ما مش يخدموا في هذيك الخدمة. إذا أنت كنت تقعد معه what is the problem? وين راهي الطالون ديالنا؟ These are wasted human resources.
Yes.
ماش كيفاه راك تنفستي في هاد لي ستوديون باش يقراو وهما يضيعوا 4 سنين من حياتهم باش يقراو باش ما يخدموش في هذيك الحاجة. Isn't that the biggest problem that we have?
Yes.
It is. And I feel like with every single problem that we have in our system, if you managed to put the right people in the right place, it's going to get automatically fixed. دوكا ولا من بعد. That's why, in my opinion, it's the biggest problem. Orientation. كما قلت لك, like it's a thing to talk about for hours. That's why I want to just slip back a little bit to what I was talking about. parce que قعدوا لي غير 2 points. So yeah, I was talking about active learning. Exams has to be different. ما كانش تاع قاعد في بلاستيك وقاعد. خليهم يخدموا دي جروب. So what if they're working in groups? وكل واحد منهم لازم يبريزونتي. Obviously we have to have a good evaluation باش تعرف باللي في الجروب ماشي غير واحد لا يخدم والآخرين كاملهم يتبعوا. سما كاين تاني عفايس لازم we have to establish good teaching methods باش نفهموا ونعرفوا باللي هاد لي étudiants كاملهم يخدموا مع بعضهم. You have to learn how to bring out the best of them. وهذا بالعقل تتعلم the best way they learn. بس كل واحد كيفاش يتعلم. واحد يتعلم by listening, واحد يتعلم by reading. كل واحد كيفاش. So we have to have presentations, a lot of projects. We have to have essay writing that is extremely important for our age. حاجة ما حبيتش تبدل. يحطوا لك فوالا جاوب على هاد الأسئلة. No, give him a problem, give him an opinion. And let him talk about the problem and let him give his opinion throughout an essay. بعد ما نقولوا في هذا البروبلم اللي لازم تعلموا كيفاش يكتب essays. So you see, it's a whole big study that has to be made on how we can change the education system towards the best. فهمتني? The last thing that I want to talk about سما هادو ملعفايس active learning that also has a lot of different points that I can talk about. هادو ملعفايس كم they're gonna solve the problem of cheating to a huge extent. I would say 80%, 75% extent. Cheating is going to be eradicated because they're studying the right way. We also have the problem of energy في السيستم ديالنا. باسكو they're really oppressed. ما مشي يخرجوا ما يديروش بزاف sport. They don't have competitions.
Like imagine من 8 حتى ل5 يقراو and they don't do anything
else. And they're teenagers. Of course they're not going to focus with you. Of course they're going to be talking to each other. They are they don't understand.
Made to have social lives.
Exactly. They're literally designed to do what they're doing. And they're doing exactly that. مالا انت علاش راك تزعف because they're being kids.
Yes. And they
ما تقول علاش why don't we have results because you don't know how to manage that.
Absolutely,
yeah. So هذا تاني داخل تاني في البروبلم تاع الغش. علاش؟ Because if they're not comfortable, they're not gonna study. And if they're not gonna study, they're gonna cheat later. So we have to have clubs. We have to have مسابقات علمية, رياضية, أدبية, موسيقية, whatever it is. Give them the time to chat with each other. Actually, a very important thing that to talk about right now is and active learning, and then learning how to network, soft skills, and then you have your ability to chat with the people that you know, because the exchange of information is one of the most important things for the future of humanity everywhere. So you have to give them the chance to talk to each other, to exchange ideas. باش كش واحد منهم يخرج لنا بكاش ايدي يعني اخترع عندنا كاش درة ولا زوج كيما يقول مولاتو ديا.
surtout تسبي a few of them have good ideas. بعد تسبيهم يروحوا للخارج والآخرين ما يسمعوش كامل بهذوك good ideas because they don't chat. So it's a waste of resource كيما مشي هذا.
It's a huge waste of resource. ما شو l'image هذه تاع اللي راهم who are designing the education system is flawed and it's old and it has to change. The curriculum everything has to change. The way they're studying to the curriculum. And the thing is that I believe دايما we are saying that teachers we need the formation pour les étudiants, les enseignants, c'est vrai. So we also have a lot of really like new teachers who are like my age, la génération ديالي دوكا طلعت تقري, who are very connected to the internet and the world, and I truly have belief in them. I believe that they can do.
Me too. Yeah, of course. I think all of the solutions that you have proposed, I'm sure they would really work really well. And I know that the education system needs like a total rebuild, as you were saying, right? Yes. Also, I would like to add that from my perspective, as someone who has been a student for so many years, and as someone who has been a teacher too for many years, I think that with a bit more empathy, if our teachers had a bit more empathy, the whole of our education system would be way better. If all of our teachers had felt like they could put themselves in the student's shoes. Like if he sees him talking, why is he talking? would I be doing the same at his place? See what I mean? He's not studying well. Why would he be not studying well? Why is he not understanding his lessons, etc.? I think already just by more empathy, being more human, if the teachers were more human, we would already be having tremendous results.
Yeah, but you know, as a teacher, because you worked in a private school, teachers in our public schools tend to have a lot of problems. I always talk about the students and the things that they face, but at the same time, the teachers ديالنا are also living in our same society. And I know so many teachers who are trying to make a change on their scale جو باش يخلي برك التلميذ شويه جو مفتوح باش يقرا وحده يعلموهم critical thinking يجي المفتش يقول لك حبسي واش راكي ديري كيما راها في الكتاب.
Exactly, yeah.
Seriously, they do that to them.
Yes.
So تاني teacher راه بزاف مقيد بواش راهو في الكوريكولم، بواش راهم يجوا هاد المفتشين كبار عليهم يقولوا لهم لازم ديروا كذا ولازم ديروا كذا، والمفتشين تاني راهم مقيدين باوامر اللي راهي تجيهم زعما من الفوق تاع الكوريكولم هكذا، لازم المنهاج لازم كيما هكذا يكون، لازم يقروا كيما هكذا. So the changement, the change is not gonna it cannot be made from like a small scale. باسكو كل واحد مقيد هكذا، كل واحد راهو هكذا مع الوقت. بس عندك من 8 ل 5 لازم تقري، سورتو هذوك لي بروف تاع المات كاع جوغ we make fun of them and we're mad at them باسكو كي تكون كاينه ساعه يحوسوا يدوها لك. بصح did you ever think that راح يحاسبوهم لو كان ما يكملوش الكوريكولم ديالهم؟
Exactly, yeah.
So can the had
And curriculum
make a
is
change?
massive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's it feels like there's a pretty large curriculum باش يجوا يقراو بيان ويقراو كلش, but the efficiency is very low.
Yes, in the end very few of them يقراو واحد على صح. Yeah.
So that's
yeah, anyway, so we got some a bit of time left.
How much?
So I don't know, like 10-15 minutes. Right. So I've been asking my friends, my followers on Instagram, etc., to ask me questions related to neurology, right? Neuroscience and physics.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do is just like really try to review and try to find answers to these questions, because we don't necessarily have all the answers, but maybe whatever we are going to say is going to help whoever asks these questions find the true answers to these questions.
Yeah.
So
one second, I just want to add a bit. We have to say, Billy, we are not professionals. I study physics,
not experts.
And all the information that I have come from lectures that I watched. C'est vrai, genre Harvard or Oxford, but they still just lectures on YouTube.
Yes.
What we talked about in the car is that when we're trying to answer these questions, they're going to be our perspectives and what we learn, and then our philosophical perspectives of them at the same time. Because if you want to know about like the exact cause of something, you just type on Google and you know. The main purpose of the podcast is to have a conversation about what we know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So first question from Hiba. Why does our brain alter or distort memories? So can you answer that?
Sure. To answer that, we have to first of all think about what memories are and how they get stored in the first place.
Yeah.
So memories are essentially just a bunch of synapses, or just a bunch of neurons interacting with each other to create an image. We were talking قبيلة باللي essentially memories and the things that we see are illusions that our brain created. So as I said, it's just like a bunch of paths, a certain pathway to neurons firing with each other to create that image of a memory. Why it gets distorted is for so many different reasons. Because to have the memory created in the first place, it has to go through the visual, and then it has to go through the experiences, and then it's also physical. So you have certain neurons might be firing the wrong way because you didn't retain the information the correct way. And then we have also biases like the hindsight bias that يخليك نتايا based on maybe experiences that you had before or your genes. كي تشوف a situation, you predict how it's going to end,
yes.
and that's going to affect and distort your memories at the same time.
Yes.
So the distortion of memories is because of so many different reasons, and one of them is that the brain is not perfect, and the way you retain information is not perfect, essentially.
Yes. And also I would add that our brain doesn't have hard drives. ماشي شغل it stores information وتقعد physically stored ومعنى خلاص. When we try to recall something, that memory is actually rebuilt. So we try, a lot of it is actually guessed from what is supposed to be normally happening. For example, many times نقول لك باللي لا dernière fois حكيت لك حكاية بعد turns out ما حكيتها لكش ليك. حكيتها لواحد آخر.
درتها لك هذه مقبل. حكيت لك ليك ولا لواحد آخر؟
وعلاش؟ باسكو أنا شايفين باللي حكينا هذيك الحكاية. بصح our brain has limited resources ما يقدرش يكون ضاغج بزاف.
And by resources we mean energy.
We mean energy and we mean space. And we mean also time. ما يقدرش يقعد يجبد هذيك الانفورماسيون pendant ساعة. Yes. So like he stores the essentials of that memory.
Exactly.
Yes. يجبد les essentiels مهم. حكيت هذه الحكاية لمن find out. Try to find out. See what I mean? Yes. Another question also from Hiba. Are memory booster techniques legit or just a myth? And how can we prevent our memory from getting worse?
Eat fish. Just kidding. Do you want to go first?
No, please.
Okay. So that question cannot be directly answered because when you're saying supplements, I get all the compliments. She means like supplements that يقول لكم زعما boost memories وما باش واش. First of all, I have to know which كاين في هاد supplements اللي تهضر عليهم to be able to answer. Most likely it's not going to help you much. Most likely these are just supplements كيما كي تاكلي حاجة كيما كي تاكليهم. It really depends on the chemicals that they're inside. I personally don't believe that they would do anything like that, and from what I saw, I think multiple times people saying that it's not going to affect your memory much. No, what you need to boost your memory is to train your brain to know how to retain information, and obviously كما كنا نهضروا من قبيله كاين mnemonics, كاين so many different methods باش تتعلمي باش you train your brain to be able to يحفظ better information and memorize much better. And then you have to also take care of your brain. You have to exercise, and exercise helps the brain immensely when it comes to any task that he has to do, whether thinking or memory or whatever it is. And then you have to eat well. So yeah, it is the very basic response that you could get anywhere, that you have to take care of your body, you have to take care of your brain, eat well, and actually too much supplements are not good. especially قاعد تاكل فيهم بعد تولف your body is going to be bad for you. So no, don't take supplements.
Yes.
Unless a doctor says so. Don't take any supplement without a doctor.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to that.
Okay.
What about is there a chance you have ADD disorder and not be aware of it?
Most likely not, as far as I know. أنا حصراحة I'm a neuroscientist or like a psychiatrist, and I'm answering these questions. Most likely not. So let's first of all introduce. What's the word I'm looking for? نعرفه. Define what ADD is and what ADHD is. So ADD is attention deficit disorder or attention deficiency disorder. It's a mental disorder, neurological disorder actually, اللي يخليك ما تكونسنتريش وبزاف فايزات أخرين. Some of the symptoms ADHD هو attention deficiency hyperactivity disorder. زاد لها الآش في الوسط. Hyperactivity معناتها تبوجي بزاف. Anyway, قولوا ADD. وش هما الsymptoms تاع هاد الزوج? Because they're very similar. Lack of concentration, disorganization, not able to stick to time.
Everyone I know.
Yeah, I guess so. I get it, honestly. Not being able to organize your stuff, not being able to follow a timeline. Essentially more or less this is it. Can obviously a lot of like different symptoms, because so many people like when they think كي يشوفوا روحهم ما يقدروش يكونسنتريو على حاجة زعما يقراو and that they cannot to do that. It's most likely not ADD. It's most likely just because you didn't train yourself to do that skill very well. So it's very unlikely that you have that. It's a neurological disorder, and the causes of it might be because your mom had alcohol, or she smoked while pregnancy. It might be genetics because other family members had that. So it's not just like أروحوا وجيبوا, you know. But I've seen a video the other day of someone talking about ADHD ADD actually, and talking about how, no, I think it was an article talking about if you let your kid watch so much TV, they will have ADD, and I don't think that's correct as far as I know. I feel like if you let your child watch a lot of TV, you're hindering their ability. Hindering is like stopping, right?
Yes.
Their ability to be able to focus later on in life. Parce que when you watch so much TV and when you scroll a lot through the internet, كما قلت لك مقبلة, you have these information splashing from everywhere. ها خرجك هذا, ها جا منا تلفزيون إيماج موراها, هذاك هو جاي. So you learn how to focus on so many things. So you're developing that skill, which is a skill. But then you have other skills that you also need to develop, and that skill that you're developing as a child is going to stop you from being able to develop the other skills that you need for your society. So most likely you don't, unless you check in like everything that is a symptom of ADD and then go and see a professional, and he's going to be the only one, or she's going to be the only one to tell you if you do or not.
Yes, and never Google your symptoms. Go to a professional.
I don't know. I feel like it's okay if you learn more about. بس كأنا دايما كنا رايحين طبيب, but you can know how to have a conversation with him. So طبيب ما عندوش الوقت باش يفهم لك كلش. So إذا أنت you already have an idea about all of that, تقدر تسقسيه. You have more. Like you عندك une base. مش غير تدخل هكذا ما على بالك بوالو. So it's like if you don't Google if you cannot control yourself. If you're gonna be like, خلاص, I'm gonna die out of hemorrhage.
If you know more about your own symptoms and your own maybe disease, you might be able to help the doctor.
Exactly, but big time.
Yeah. Okay. Next question from Sami, who's my cousin. The difference between a native language and a language learned later on.
That's a great question. I don't think I can answer that because. Because there has been a lot of a kerfuffle, not really a kerfuffle, because a lot of people disagree on what is a native language. Like if you think with this language and it's not, you learned it later in life, is it your native language? I don't know. I don't think so, and I personally don't believe that. I feel like a native language is the language that everyone speaks around you and that you started to speak first and you continue to speak it your entire life, and for us it's a darja. Period. No matter how good you get in a language, you're not going to be native to it. You're going to just be very fluent at it.
Yes.
So yeah, that's my opinion on the matter.
Yeah, and there's this hypothesis of theory. I think it's a hypothesis. It's not really a theory yet, which states that a language is an actual physical entity inside your brain. And when you learn a new language, that physical entity changes a bit. So your way of thinking and your way of seeing the world actually changes because of physical developments that happen in your brain.
Okay.
Yes. So when you learn one language, which is your native language, you're going to have the culture that comes with it.
Exactly.
The way you think is going to be very, very...
but don't you think that even if you learn a language later on, you're going to sort of gain some of the culture, maybe not as much?
Exactly what I'm saying. Like even if you're an Algerian and you learn English, you're going to learn, if you learn American English, you're going to acquire some American way of thinking and some American culture, etc. So yeah, it's a very interesting question. I don't think anyone has the definitive answer to this yet. Yeah. Because our brain is like we know way more about the universe than we know about
the brain. Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, so I have another question from this friend. She never actually puts her name on her profile on Instagram. I'm very sorry, but I wrote the girl who really, really likes Russian culture. Anyway, she asks if there are any biological or physical differences between men and women's brains.
Not to a big extent, no. Not really. I heard the writer of Blueprint, who is a who is, I think he does genes or something like that, and he was talking exactly about this. He said that there aren't really much differences between the two brains. Yes, we're good at different things in better rates, but physical differences is not that much, no.
Yeah. So I heard a podcast about neuroscience recently, and the scientist was saying that
Robert Plummin, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. In speech, I think speech is concentrated for the male brain only on the right side, mostly on the right side, while for females...
Right side? No, I don't.
Left side.
Left side is the...
Maybe the left side,
is
yeah.
the
However, for the
center.
females, for the female, I don't know.
Broca's area.
We need to research this more.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure of it,
Yeah.
actually.
And for the females, it's more like half on the left and half on the right.
I don't think that's true at all.
I don't know. I heard it last week, so...
Where? Which podcast?
Star Talk,
okay,
Neuroscience.
Center of Language Processing. And
Right,
brain.
women.
The left
Okay,
hemisphere, voilà. The left hemisphere is usually dominant in right-handed people, although bilateral activations are not uncommon. So غير لما عنديش بزاف مني كنت نهضر about how...
I found it, by the way.
What was it? Yeah.
So, but a study published by the journal Brain and Language, which accounted for and corrected these methodological factors, confirmed that men and women indeed use different parts of their brains when processing both language and visual spatial information.
Okay.
So yeah.
المهم شوف language and the human brain. The left hemisphere is the logical brain
By the way,
and
we have
is
like 2 minutes left.
involved in language. But I'm gonna have to go back to that later maybe.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not very sure about that.
Yeah, we've got a lot of questions left, but not much time left. So,
yeah.
Khansa, thank you so much for coming. This
Thank
was
you.
like very, very illuminating.
Thank you so
I think
much.
this was like, yeah, this is our
Second best.
most scientific. Yeah, because we've had like pseudo rocket scientist in the
Jihad.
podcast. Yeah, not Jihad, no, a real rocket scientist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's cool.
but I think this is more scientific because we have explored way more things, and we have used the scientific rationality or method of thinking in analyzing all of the subjects that we have undertook. So thank you very much for coming, ElKhansaa, and I hope you come again.
I
soon.
truly wish that. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. It was a great
Thank you.
conversation.
Goodbye.
Thank you.